Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Laureli Shimayo, and this is MeWe Fairs, your safe space for authenticity and transformation. We have events throughout the Pacific Northwest, many online, and tonight is our online panel on astrology and astrological insights. There are 7 practitioners of astrology that are here on the panel tonight. I'm just helping run things, and they're going to be answering your questions. It's free to be here to listen and learn, and it's a small price to ask a question of the panel. It's 20, 24, 28, or 20 or it's $12 for BIPOC folks in the step of making reparations. I'll put the information in the chat again about how you can ask a question of the panel. I know that we've got at least one in line. Okay, great. And if you want to ask a question, you're going to have to provide me your birth date, location, and time also, so that they can give you the best, most thorough answer. If you don't have all that, give us what you've got. And so the one person that's asked a question, I know I'm going to need that information from you. And again, you can privately send that information to me, and I can individually send it to the practitioners if you don't want that public. Or when you're asking a question, if you want, you can just put that in the chat too. It's totally up to you, but we don't necessarily have to read it online. All right, great. Let's see, we're going to have the practitioners introduce themselves first, and then we might talk a little bit about astrology. They're all going to talk about astrology to some extent when they do the first introduction, and you've got 2 to 3 minutes to introduce yourself. So feel free to tell us what you do, some of your philosophy in astrology, like any of the things that you want to share. You are welcome to list any of your contact info online too for people that are watching the video later. It's all up to you. I will select my timer just so that if you're going long, I'll just give you an idea so you can finish up. And the way that I typically will signal that is to do something like this. So don't worry about immediately stopping. Just go ahead and finish up your sentence wherever you are and close out where you are. All right, great. It's so exciting to have you all here, and I'm excited that we've got so many people, right? So many panelists and so many people starting to join us in the audience. And I'm going to do more sharing of the Facebook Live that we just did. All right, great. So we're going to have Marita, Erik, Sally, Dane, Dre, Alina, and Painted Goddess sharing. And great. All right. So go ahead, Marita.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marita, and I am the founder of Indigo Oracle. I use Vedic astrology, which is the sidereal or Indian astrology. So a little bit different from the Western. They do have a lot of similarities, but there are some major differences. So there is like a lunar zodiac called the nakshatras that are often used. Traditional Vedic astrology does not use the outer planets. We do refer to the North Node and the South Node as Rahu Ketu, and they have a slightly different meaning. There's also a lot of deities and gods that get incorporated into Vedic astrology. And so those are just some of the major differences. There are quite a few. In my practice, as I said in the intro, I'm more of a generalist. And so I don't specialize in any one thing. I kind of go all over with the different topics that I can consult on. So finances, career, soulmate, relationships, soul purpose, all of those things. The main thing that I like to emphasize in my readings are the spiritual principles. So things like karma and free will and willpower and destiny, the difference between those two things. And so I do a lot of consulting just on spiritual matters outside of astrology or beyond astrology, more the spiritual aspects. So I also do in-person activations. So I've done the in-person MeWe fairs, some other local markets, online, one-on-ones. And this year coming up, I'll be doing more workshops and lectures. So I'm excited for that. And right now, that's kind of what I have for you. I'm excited to share space with you all and answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, next is Erik.
Thank you, Laureli. Yeah, Erik Roth here. I'm a shamanic alchemical astrologer. And in my essence, to work with people, it's to as a translator of the language of the stars and the planets to help each individual person navigate their way through life and helping them make informed decisions in their life. And it's done through using the planets as spirit guides, as teachers, as initiators in our lives. It helps us. I work with the 3 worlds concept: underworld, middle world, and above world. and helping us understand and where we're going, our calling, and also how to apply on a practical level. How can we work with this, each of us, in our daily life, or what is the long-term uh, life purpose here? So that's what astrology really can communicate to us. It's one of course, many modalities out there, both not just astrology, but tarot and others that can help us navigate all of that. And I love working with people on a regular basis, helping them see what's upcoming for them. I'm not here to predict, but here to show an intention. And so that they can choose as a human being to use their free will to decide how they want to work with those energies, whether they want to resist something, resist even their path, or that they want to like continue on something else that feels more in alignment with who they are, or maybe somewhere in between. So I can do readings, synastry readings for couples. I work with and family relationships as well, helping people find their life calling, really kind of connect it into that space. And no sign or planet is better than one another. They all have their light and shadow, which really makes up the totality of who we are. So it's honoring in my work, it's honoring that totality, the full spectrum of everything, of all it means to be human and beyond, and to work with that energy as something that's like, hey, we're here on this planet in flesh and blood. Let's work. Let's have that relationship with the sky and the earth to go forward in our life. So I've been doing this for over 15 years. And I do this for a living. This is my day job, and even my night job as I'm here this evening. So really excited to be on this panel and to help individuals answer some pressing questions in their life. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Erik. And next is Sally.
Hello, it's so nice to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. I love to do these MeWe events. They're just awesome. I haven't gotten to do one in a while, so this is a treat. And I see so many of my folks up in the bleachers. That's wonderful. Yay. I am I really have just been a student of the stars since I was a little kid, and goes way back to my dad, and even down to just looking for the Little Dipper. I just knew it was as above and so below, and I just kind of consider it God's big computer in the sky. So I feel like this is how he's running everything down here. And when it comes to transits that are going on, which is what is my main focus right now, forecasting, because this is such a crazy time, I really look for the opportunity to give you the advice that you need for your specific situation, not just something that is very unusable. Right. So having said that, I'm hoping I get to talk to each of you at some point. I come from a very practical standpoint. I kind of a no frills astrologer, so you're not going to get just an awful lot of woo woo from me. You're going to get a lot of plain talk. So I hope that fits your, what you like. If not, looks like there's so many good folks around here. So I look forward to hearing from each one of them.
That's great. Thank you so much. Next, we have Jane.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jane Masteller, and my specialty is doing astrology location, also known as astrocartography. So if you know your exact birth time, you can find out how astrologically the planets are influencing you geographically anywhere in the world. So when I learned about this, I was quite fascinated with it. And over time, I've observed how when I've done my different travels, how the planetary influence has played out. I actually moved from Chicago to Boise, Idaho, based on the astrocartography. And it's been a much more pleasant experience being over here on the Venus line in Idaho versus the Mars line, where things were a little bit more intense there. So you really can shift your energies think of it as it's almost like a feng shui type of thing. And even if you're not looking to do a big move, sometimes even if you're just moving 35 miles in a certain direction or 20 miles in a certain direction, you can tap into some different energies. So in addition to doing the astrocartography, I also do forecasts. I look at the transits, eclipses, and other different prognostic indicators such as your progress chart, your solar arc chart, and give an idea of how you can expect the year to be playing out for you. When is the best time for you to be laying low? When is the time to be taking action? And I also am quite passionate about relationship astrology, understanding the challenges and the strengths within relationships, whether it's a romantic relationship or anyone that you're in a relationship with. Lastly, I also love looking at your natal chart and giving you insights in on your destiny. Your natal chart is a beautiful display of your talents, things that come easy for you, and also things that you're meant to have some challenges in this lifetime, but that it's literally part of your life purpose to integrate and grow in that area. So you can reach me at janemasteller.com. It's in the chat, and I just look forward to hanging out with you all and seeing everyone share their specialty tonight. So I'm real excited for tonight. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jane. And next we have Dre, and then Alina, and then Painted Goddess.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dre. I am the psychic nerd. I am a tarot reader, medium, and while I do not have a specific astrology specialty, I do incorporate a lot of it into my services and offerings, simply because I have found that a lot of what deals with the tarot, it also just so happens to deal with astrology, and there are also the different zodiac signs represented within the tarot. So I do that, and I also like to provide people with a better understanding of astrology. And I do Western astrology primarily, but it's, for me, very interesting how there's that pushback, oh, astrology isn't real, but you look across different civilizations and there's these different astrological systems coming from these different cultures, and some of them that are still around today. We still have Vedic astrology, we still have our Western astrology, our Chinese astrology. So it plays a big part in our lives, more so than what we have been led to believe. So that's why I incorporate it into my services and my practices. And it's very awesome to me because I was actually able to use my own birth chart to really gain insight into who I am and what it is I should be doing with my life. So if anyone has, information concerning their birth chart, like your different placements, I can give some insight into that. Especially when I also do a lot of my work with things like Star Trek and Star Wars and those kinds of things. And I really relate a lot of it to that pop culture and nerd type stuff to help people kind of grasp it a little bit better. And I have, my little list of heroes. I'm like, oh, they're this zodiac sign or they're that zodiac sign. So I really like to take astrology and make it even more fun and grasp understandable for people in that kind of a format. So I'm looking forward to interacting with people and giving some insight.
Great. Thank you so much, Dre. Next, we've got Alina.
My name is Alina, also known as Saddle Matters, and my history with astrology started with my own natal chart when I was able to build it because I happen to know my birth time. And a lot of things fell back into place when I looked at it, because I realized that a lot of the things that I was showing were kind of not in tune with my sun sign, but a lot of it had something to do with my rising or with my moon. And I started digging deeper from there. I learned natal astrology from Lori Rivers, and then I also learned Horary astrology from one of the astrologers in Moscow. I have also, and I don't talk about it much, but I have been on the board of directors of Astrological Society of Kentucky for 2 years between 2021 and 2023. And I have brought a lot of mundane, very young energy to the group of very old, seasoned astrologers who all called me kid. I'm 44 years old. And that was an interesting experience where I started using the transits to make decisions, to do certain things, to make business decisions, to make personal decisions, to make the decisions in my house and with my family. And speaking of transits, Moon is void right now, so whatever you ask, don't be afraid. There is no shocker. Okay, so there is that. And I use it every day. I have a calendar every year. I make a calendar with all the aspects and ingresses that I can use. Just look at it and be like, should I do this now or should I wait till tomorrow or do I need to wait another month because something is retrograde or moon is void or something else. Um, and astrology is a huge part of my life because of that. The astrological oracle deck that I read, I also utilize astrology, even though it's not necessary, because it has astrological symbolic on it, and sometimes I have to explain to the client in front of me that this is what it means. And very often I will say something like, Mars was retrograde in my 12th, and then see the person look at me like, English, doc? Okay, I can translate that into plain English. Okay, I just use the lingo automatic. Um, Either way, I can look at the natal chart with the transits around it. I can look at the natal chart independently. I can look at the horary chart at the time the question is asked and see if I can answer that and what probability it has. Anyway, thank you for coming and thank you for having me. I'm having fun already, so thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much, Alina. And next we have the Painted Goddess.
Hi, my name is Jennifer, the Painted Goddess. I've been studying astrology for a really long time, and when I was, something like 9 or something, I read Sydney Omar's books and became really interested because I'm a Virgo, and I started to see patterns that Virgo was definitely something I felt like I needed to fix, which is hilarious, right? So I kind of began understanding myself as a whole sky, right? The whole, what I think a lot of us astrologers know is that when somebody focuses on one part of their chart, they forget all the things that they have access to. And so one of the greatest, I think, teachings that I've had with working with hundreds of clients is that my my story is about what, and something might be telling about somebody, has a lot of different filters, right? And as you look at the transits and you see what they've been through and you talk to them, you can see how these different stories might come through in different ways. And so just the delight of like understanding that we actually have some kind of roadmap and that there's a conversation that can be objective. So I've used it as an evolutionary tool a lot and helping my clients to understand like maybe what the lesson could be or how some lessons might repeat themselves and how that, looks like. One of my favorite things to remind clients is like the way that the planets move through our charts is very cyclical, of course, and it has a pattern and it repeats itself. And, if you want to talk about our solar returns and the Mars returns and the Venus returns and the Saturn returns, like each of these have an arc. Each of them have kind of a cycle that we kind of go through, an expansion and a retraction, very much like the lunar cycle. And so for a long time, I focused on lunar cycle work and helped my clients to understand the lunar cycle and how to, understand and use the magic and the influence of the moon and its kind of astrological dress every couple days, how it changes, to kind of also experience the astrology of their chart, right? So sometimes I'll work with clients where I'll give them kind of homework where every time the moon's in Pisces for the next 3 months, I want you to do this thing or say this prompt, or, so we'll give them kind of something that they're working on. So I often end up kind of having clients that are a little bit like a coaching situation. And yeah, some of my work includes also just like I love to teach astrology, and I kind of nerded out for a while on something called the Astrological Lab, and I had a bunch of students. I built a school online, and the result of that was a bunch of books that I'll be publishing. There's actually workbooks where people can do symbol practice and everything. And so that's coming. The best way to get a hold of me probably is Instagram these days. I've almost reduced all of my online presence to nil, and I do circle work uh, and workshops out of a place called Touch of Meraki in Gig Harbor very often. And then I am excited to be here and amongst all of you wonderful people. So thank you.
That's great. Thanks so much. Okay, let's see. So I know we've got 2 questions in line already. Let me put the basic information in chat again about asking a question. So it is sliding scale. You can choose from 20, 24, 28. There are various ways to pay, or $12 for BIPOC folks. You can pay with a Humanitix link. You can pay on PayPal. You can pay on Venmo. If you're stuck and need another way to pay, I can work on figuring that out too. So yeah, we have the 2 questions in line. The first one's anonymous. The second one, I'm not sure yet. They might be reading out their question. So practitioners, I just want to make sure I'm getting everything ready. In your private chat, you should have all the birth date information, birth time, place, etc., for 2 people. So do any of you not have it for 2 people? So I make sure I send that to you. And then we'll talk a little bit more about astrology before we dive into questions. I just want to make sure that I'm getting this to everybody. I'm not used to having to send it to all like 7 different people at once. So there's probably a way I can do a group. I have to figure out how to do a group. If they haven't invented that yet, they're probably on the way. Okay, so maybe you all have it. If you don't have it, let me know. So we'll go in order, the first question and the second question. Okay, well, let's see. So is there anything else, like maybe a minute or 2 at most, if we go around, is there anything else you want to say about astrology or about your practice, having heard the other people share? So we'll go in the same order. So it'll be, just so not a surprise, Marita, Erik, Sally, Jane, Dre, Alina, and Jennifer, the Painted Goddess. So yeah, you have another minute or 2 if there's anything else you want to share about you or anything else about astrology. So go ahead, Marita.
And this is just more on me right now.
It can be on you, or it can be generally about astrology or anything you want people to know. It could be the different kinds of questions that can be answered, you can answer, or just anything. It's up to you. If you don't have anything, it's fine, but yeah.
Okay. So I didn't share that much about myself and my background with astrology of the first round. So, I've been interested in astrology since I was a teenager. I'm now in my 30s, and I started to formally study astrology in 2022. And then I started business in 2023. I also come from a consulting background, business consulting with different social impact businesses and nonprofits, government agencies, predominantly in the arts. And so it was a nice practice to kind of take those skills, and they were very transferable over to this kind of work. Personally, I've used astrology for understanding myself better. Particularly Vedic astrology helped me understand a lot of like the adversity that I experienced growing up. Just understanding the role that Saturn plays in my chart, and how Saturn's impacts can impact someone's chart. Also Ketu. I have Ketu with my moon based on my nakshatra, and how that created different life experiences for me. I've also tapped into different remedies. At this point in my practice and in my life, I use astrology on a daily basis. So I track transits, and I just can understand, and I've developed a certain level of foresight by looking at transits. Also, a technique we have in Vedic astrology are the dashas. And so each planet can have a period that is where it's more prevalent in your life. And those periods, they're kind of like seasons. If you're like on a different journey, right? Like a healing journey, maybe you're in your moon dasha, or if you're in like a, a really ambitious era of your life, you might be in like your Rahu Mahadasha. So I track that. I help others to understand things in their life based on these transits and these dashas as well. And it's just been a blessing to my life, honestly. I didn't think I'd ever end up running a business like this, but people started to come to me a few years ago when I first started to study and asking for their charts. And they said that information would be so accurate and it would be so clarifying and helpful. And they made really great decisions based on the insights I was able to provide. And so, it just kind of turned into this business that I'm now running. And yeah, that's just like more about me and how I use astrology. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much. And I moved my microphone. Y'all can still hear me okay? All right, great. So Erik is next.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, just a little bit. I come from the language of shamanic astrology, and there's many. I studied formally with Daniel Giamario in the Shamanic Astrology Mystery School, and a lot of our classes were in person, and some of them were actually outside. We actually would learn under the night sky, under the stars itself, and learn how to navigate and work with them, in addition, of course, to the planets and signs themselves. And so this is the more part of the background, more part of the thing that actually drew me to astrology itself. And so when I do readings for people, I also take that into account, like what's going on, literally not just what we could see on the computer with the natal charts, but actually what's going on outside, what's going on with the stars, what's going on with the planets, and the relationship and our experiential relationship with that too as well. And I work with it in all kinds of ways. But I also teach this. I have a personal mentorship program, and I'm developing an online course program that'll be coming out in the months ahead. Already creating a study guide for that right now. And so these are the things that I'm very passionate about, like many of you out there that are practicing astrology and other forms of helping people. It's amazing because you can really connect with the stars and the planets, and they're here to have a relationship with us and Earth and the sky, everything. So really excited also to be here, and anytime I get a chance to connect with people that want to learn about astrology or other astrologers that want to have conversations and dialogue too. It's always a great pleasure to do that. So thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Erik. Sally?
Well, when I was in college, I kind of dabbled in astrology, kind of parlor tricks, and I was always really good at mating people based on their sun signs and their moon signs, and actually had a few people that got married as a result. So that was kind of fun doing the matchmaker thing. But really, that was just kind of a distraction to get me through that time in life. And I just laid it down. Although, I'd kind of just pay attention to my own chart, kind of, but really more for my friends. When I got real serious about astrology, I had gone through just a really rough time in, let's say, 2015 to 2018, which really kind of pushed me into almost like a nervous breakdown. And about 2018, everybody basically in my family died within 2 years. Not my married family, but my mother, my brother, my sister, and a bunch of friends also died, and a lot of animals. It was just, I lost my job, and it was just a bunch of loss. And I realized that the energy was definitely making a big shift about that time. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but you could feel this starting to well up. And I decided at that time that I really needed to go back and just do a lot of work on my own natal chart and see why it is that I just kept falling into these same repetitive patterns, expecting a different result. And for some reason, I was able to it just clicked at that time. This is what I needed to do. This was the purpose of what I am kind of put here for. And it's to kind of help people get through those rough times and make decisions. Not that I don't believe that I definitely believe that we have free will. I believe that everything that we choose to do also has a certain little amount of fate or karma in it. So I hope I get to talk to you all about that.
Thanks so much, Sally. Next we have Jane, then Dre, then Alina, then Painted Goddess, and then around to questions. Go ahead, Jane.
So a little history about my astrology journey was I first learned astrology, started becoming interested in it right after I had attained my 4-year college degree. And I couldn't believe my eyes when I'm opening up the astrology book and I'm reading it and I'm able to put words to things that I couldn't understand and verbalize about my own personality. So what I find one of the best things about astrology is it can really help you feel, have some pride about the wonderful things that you have in your chart. And you can say, like, I'm not going to deny it. That's where I shine. That's where I'm good. And then also to have more compassion with yourself about some of your challenges that you have in your chart. I tend to, anytime I get down on myself, I always think like, you're doing pretty good with those things that you're dealing with in your chart. So the way I see the chart, everyone, is this is literally God's paintbrush. These are timed events that often are going to be going off at certain times. This is experiences you were meant to have in this lifetime based on the creator's vision of your evolution of your soul in this lifetime. And it just is such an advantage to understand what's going on, understand what you're working with. So knowing your natal chart is so super important, and understanding how the transiting planets and how your chart has shifted over time can be so helpful for you to understand why things are happening to you. So I just can't stress enough how much you can benefit from learning just even about your own astrology and reaching out and getting readings from the astrologer that you do most connect with.
Thanks, Jane. Next we've got Dre.
I got nothing. I'm gonna move along so we can get started.
All right, great. Next, Alina, and then Painted Goddess, then questions.
Okay, I'll start with a tiny little story. When I was at work, I asked one of my former coworkers, we don't work in the same building together, but we work in the same organization. I asked him where his sun was, and he said it's in Capricorn. No, he said it's in Cancer. And I'll tell you why I mentioned Capricorn. And he said, all I heard about astrology is you tell them where your sun sign is, and they should answer, oh, that makes sense. To which I said, no, it doesn't. Because how people see you is not your sun, it's your ascendant. And I told him, you look like Capricorn to me. Okay, sorry, that's my cat. And that is where my philosophy is. You're not just your sun sign, you're your whole unique natal chart. And if it helps anybody, my big three is my sun is in Pisces, my moon is in Virgo, and I'm a full moon baby, and my ascendant is in Leo, so I'm a big peacock. I love a show. So, and that I learned that from my natal chart. And a lot of things fell into place. All of a sudden, I realized why I like being on the stage so much. And that's kind of my journey with astrology. I started using the transits around my natal chart because I wanted to see like what's going on. Why is my life in shambles? Or why is it so great? I want to see. If I see that again, I'll recognize it. I'll take more advantage of it. And that was exciting. Astrology is a language. What attracted me first to it was glyphs. All those squiggly symbols and lines and all the things that I read, like letters, like hieroglyphs. Uh, and that's when I thought, I can probably learn that language. I'm not bad at languages, and that's how I started rolling it. Horary astrology is just my preferred method simply because I don't need much. All I need is to know where I am when the question is asked and what time it is. Um, but otherwise, yeah, I love it. I hope you do too.
That's great. Thank you so much. And I'm now seeing the spiral behind you that we were talking about in the panel last night as a peacock, kind of. Yep. Great. All right. Painted Goddess is next. Oh, wait, you're muted. Let's get you unmuted.
Oh, well, I was just saying I don't have much else to say, and then I'm muted anyway. So, um, but I will say just that I'm excited to kind of see how others see placements and to get started for the first question.
That's
Yeah.
great. Great. And by the way, I haven't made any of you co-hosts yet. I can make you all co-hosts. You might all want to share your screen, not sure. But so just let me know. And by the way, practitioner, okay, great. Yeah, so a bunch of you will. The thing that the wording that works best for me is if you raise your hand in Zoom, that way you get sorted in order for me in the participants panel, and I know what order you want to answer the questions. So if you could do that when you want to answer. So let's see, our first question is anonymous. So the question is, it just happens to be a little more directed in this one, towards what one of your practices. However, we're going to find out all the ways that you can use the chart to answer these things. I want to know the best location for me to thrive. And they gave us their birth date, and like we know where they live now. I didn't put that in my notes, but so any other practitioners, if you need to know where the person lives now, let me know. But I know Jane needed to know where they live now. And yeah, so this is anonymous. So let me know if you're ready to answer this question for them. What is the best location for them to thrive? And the person that's asking that question, if there's any other information you want to share about that, go ahead. And if that's all you want to share, that's just fine too. And feel free if you want to make any comments as they're answering, just do that in the chat. All right, great. Painted Goddess is ready. Do you need to share your screen?
No, I actually have a question. Are you talking about
Yeah.
physical location? Or are you talking about emotional location, spiritual location? I'm curious
I
about
I think
what
they meant
that
geographic
means. So,
location, but yeah, so maybe they have some other comment
geographic
they want to make about
location.
that. And maybe I should
Okay.
say two for all of you. So this is oh yeah, let me say a few other things. This is great. I'm totally getting reminded of a few other things. And they're listing off where they've lived before. And is it okay with you if I list on the screen for everyone else to kind of play with things, not necessarily your birth information, but where you've lived? Is that okay if I list that? Okay, it sounds like yes, that's okay. So they're currently living in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and they have lived in Arizona, Massachusetts, Arizona, California, and Nevada. Oh, so they're now in New Hampshire, Cambridge, Massachusetts. That's not really making all sense to me, but Cambridge, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire, I'm confused. So maybe clarify that. Oh, born in Cambridge, live in New Hampshire. Oh, yeah. Sorry, getting that all mixed up. New Hampshire now. And then you're looking, oh, you want security and love. You want security and you would like love. That is the exact language that you used in case that's okay. And yeah, and by the way, practitioners, oh yeah, practitioners are going to have 3 minutes to answer, each of you. And so for the rest of you in the audience, this is a great opportunity to learn from all that's asked and all that's answered, whether or not you're asking a question. If this is a great opportunity to practice opening your intuition. So when someone asks a question, in whatever way you would answer, if you know some astrology, go ahead. You don't have the birth date and all that stuff, but you can think about ways that you would answer in general as we're doing this. And it's just a great chance to practice and see if the ways that you would answer are similar to what we share. Because you might in other psychic ways pick up information for them. We do request though that you keep that information to yourself while the panel is answering their question. And then if you want, when we're done answering, you're welcome to private chat the person if you know who it is. In this case, you don't even know who it is. So I guess it's optional for you if you want to put something in the chat. Just in general, if you know who, well, So in general, that would be true for this one since it's anonymous. If you know who the person is, what we generally request is that you private chat them and ask if they'd like to hear what came through you and work with whatever they share. They might feel full after hearing 7 answers. It could be they want your answer. It's up to them. And if they don't want to have your information, just trust that the information came through you for some other reason. So generally what we ask in terms of honoring each other's spaces here. Yeah, so go ahead, practitioners. You've got 3 minutes, and whose hand was up first? Someone's hand was up first in Zoom. Was that practitioner? I thought someone had their hand up. Do you all know how to put your hand up in Zoom? It's should be along the bottom in one of the options. If you don't see it there, look at goodness, responses or reactions. And if you don't see it there, look under more, and that's where it should appear. Okay, yeah. So Jane is ready. So let's have Jane go first. And you want to, oh yeah, Marita wants to share screens. I got to make you a co-host. And Jane, do you want to share your screen too? Probably for some of us.
No, unfortunately, because I'm using a different computer.
No, that's okay.
But I can, if this person does want to put their email address, I can forward them the information that I've collected already. And I'm going to say that I've looked at Epping for her. And I believe this is a female, and I apologize if it's not a female. I don't have a date. So I will just say, we're just going to call this June 16th, actually. So June 16. Okay, so right now in the area where that you're at in Epping, you are on your moon line and your Jupiter line. And so the moon line can be like where you have a lot of ancestral connections. It can also be a very vulnerable place to be because it's connected in with your emotions. Things can be very instinctual for you here. And you also can have a strong connection with women and the messages that they are bringing you. Also, you're tapping into the Jupiter line here, which can tend to be good for luck and expansion and growth, particularly studying different religions, philosophies, and metaphysics. Now, in your own personal chart, you have both of these planets in Aries. So if you're in this certain area, it can be beneficial for you to be doing exercise, okay, with the Aries energy. So anything that could be considered energy exercise could be beneficial for you because otherwise it can maybe be a little bit of an irritable possible, especially if you're repressing some of your frustrations. Now, when you said, I want to know the best place to thrive, I'll tell you that you also are on a Saturn-Neptune crossing line here before I go to best place. And that can, at best, that can be you being disciplined with your spirituality. But at worst, it can be hard for you to be able to be disciplined. So it does have a Uranus Chiron crossing. This can be where you can be really unique in some ways, but that maybe sometimes it's hard for you to feel so different from other people. And lastly, Mercury Pluto, which can be helpful for you to be focusing intensely on projects. Now, when I was looking and seeing where might be a strong place for you to thrive, it may sound strange, but I would encourage you even just to go down and visit Maryland. Okay, so you've got a crossing Moon Jupiter line right around Savannah Park, Maryland, and that's on that latitude. So I'm gonna encourage you to write that down, Savannah Park latitude. In Maryland, and it's going to be plus or minus 70 miles in north and south where you can really tap into that. That's where you can be feeling having a lot more comfort with those two lines coming together at a pair and supporting actually the major lines that you're at in your current residence. But also, I want you to write down this next one. I want you to write down Waldorf, or excuse me, Wakorf, W-A. I can't read this. It's kind of small. Let's say St. Charles, Maryland. Okay, around St. Charles, Maryland, and that's going to be 70 miles north, 70 miles south. So I would say if you want more detailed astrocartography reading, I would highly encourage you to reach out to me. But this is a good place for you to have some fun. Go travel down, feel that energy out. I don't know if Maryland seems like a positive place for you, but this is where I see can be a consideration where you could tap into some lighter energy.
Great. Thanks so much, Jane, for getting us started. Next, we have Sally and then Erik. And did you want to share your screen, Sally?
No, that's okay. I certainly am not I'm not an astrocartographer, so I have immense respect for Jane. is a perfect question for you. But I did want to talk to you about the timing of what she's saying. You're going to, because you've got Jupiter, because you're a Leo rising, you are going to have Jupiter in your sign next year. So there's going to be some expansion, but there's also going to start about, I think it's August 12th. You're going to have some opportunities there because we've got some eclipses coming in on the axis of Leo and Aquarius. So I think that's most likely going to propel you into some type of change. And I do think that since you've got Aquarius in the seventh house, you've got Pluto now that just crossed over into your seventh house of partnerships, relationships, and marriage. So don't think that that's not possible. You just have to really know that probably something, maybe an old attitude, is going to have to say goodbye. I'm not sure what that looks like for you because I don't know you and I'm not talking to you, but you feel free to contact me if you'd like more. Thanks so much. I hope that helps. And I think Jane's advice was stellar.
Great, thanks so much. And next we've got Erik and then Painted Goddess.
Hi, yeah, thanks for the question. I do astrocartography, but we've already got that question answered pretty much. I mean, I could certainly, with more time, we could certainly go into deeper. I think all astrocartographers could do that with various points in the map. Also want to point out, like when it comes to moving or finding the best location, as the previous astrologer was talking about, we kind of look at our timings and see where we are in our life, whether it's a good time to move or it's not a good time to move. One of the things that this first question, the questioner with the birth information has provided is that, or that they're in, as far as the cycle goes, that they're in one of the most important cycles that they can go through, Uranus square Uranus, and their Mercury is right on target as well. And this means this started in late July. This is a period of typically you can be unsteady, unstable with things as you're planning things and trying to move forward. That things go aside. They might have some twists and turns and some general surprises. But I also want to share too, because of the way your chart is, that this type of cycle can really bring out a lot of not just regular surprises, but things that really transform this person. And potentially even in relationship partnership. So there is a potential for someone to come in and it'll especially, like, I think, especially what we were talking about, Sally was talking about with Jupiter going into Leo. Absolutely. And on top of that, the Venus position in the same summer period when Jupiter goes into Leo, Uranus will be over this person's Venus position. So there's like an amplification of possible surprise breakthroughs when it comes to relationship partnership. And in order to really work with this is to not make hard and certain plans for everything. Especially in 2026, you want to be more fluid and flexible with where you're going in your life and try not to like put too much of a fixed expectation and just allow things to kind of breathe and develop organically as they unfold. And when you're doing that, you can navigate this, I think, a little bit more easily as you go forward throughout 2026, especially beginning in the summer period, but after. But again, you're still in the surprise period. So one of the great things about Uranus, silver linings, is that it can create breakthroughs for our life. So if we're feeling stuck somewhere, things can pop for us in very unusual ways. But it does require us to let go of some attachments in order for us to move forward. Thank you, Laura. Thank you.
Great, thanks so much. Next we have the Painted Goddess.
Hi. I love what everybody's sharing. It's helping. I was like, I don't have much to say because I'm not an astrocartographer. And then recognizing timing, and what popped into my field is just like thinking about your 10th house, your ninth house, your eighth house, your seventh house, this whole area where Chiron is in your 10th house, which is, going to kind of have you really understand um, what you're known for, what you're responsible for, and that shift that's happening connected to where were probably like, I don't know, 13 years ago, 12 years ago, which is the whole Jupiter cycle as well. And so Jupiter was in the same place, which is in your 12th house, about to go on your ascendant. So there's this expansion coming into your own self. You're realizing so many new things about yourself, and you're in this period of growth. Meanwhile, and then Chiron's helping you heal those really, child core wounds around what I'm known for, what am I responsible for, what am I going to do, right? And of course, that return happened, that Chiron return happened about 50. And now the North Node is visiting Chiron in Pisces. And it's like softening your heart. There's something very spiritual happening, maybe about this move for you, or that you're looking for your new home, your place where you're going to, rest in your life or something. And and then Saturn moving with Neptune and just going direct in Pisces, which is in your ninth house, makes me think that you want to go somewhere that feels like a return to something that you once knew about yourself that helped you to grow. And so there's this echo of growth. It's really aligned with that spiritual purpose. The North and South Node are involved. The South Node's conjunct your Pluto in Virgo in the second house. So you're probably having to, of course, I mean, the age that you're at, you're retiring. So there's this sense of too that I'm sure you're reckoning with those finances, and what do I have left to work with? What remains and what's important to me, right? What do I want to carry when I'm, going to this next season of my life? That's what it feels like. It feels like a very big transition. And I just want to bless that. So thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Jennifer. Next, we have Alina.
So I don't do astrocartography simply because I'm terrible at geography. But when I built your chart and I put the current transits together with it, what struck me most was that Jupiter is almost in conjunction with your North Node, and that's your future destiny node. It's about 4 degrees away right now, and because Jupiter is retrograding, it will get into that exact aspect in just maybe 2 to 4 weeks. And it really depends on how much orb, astrological term, how much orb you would allow, because for me, 4 degrees is enough orb to call it a conjunction. So your North Node is in your 12th house. That is the house of spirituality, first and foremost, and the house of immigration. We don't really talk about it as a house of immigration, but it is a house of immigration. So no wonder you are thinking about possibly relocating somewhere where you can thrive. The North Node, the future destiny, plus the gift giver Jupiter, they're coming together. I think as the time progresses in the next maybe 2, 4, 6 weeks, you will have a more and more and clearer picture of what you want to do and where you want to go. And yes, I would absolutely take notes of what Jane said about the locations, and take a serious look at the map and at all the logistics that you have to take care of when you are relocating. I've done it several times. It's tough. But take a look at it and then wait till Jupiter goes direct. It will conjunct your North Node again. And I can look later and put in the chat when that's going to happen, because I just need to turn that wheel a little bit. And then you can probably make a very safe and happy decision for yourself. So that is one thing that struck me, is that your Jupiter is conjunct your North Node. That is the time to to think about things like that in the 12th house of immigration, of all things.
All right, great. Let's see. I think maybe Dre and Marita, it's optional to answer any questions. Is there anything that you wanted to add?
I can provide some insights to the person who asked the question. I'm just wondering, it's okay to share the chart, or should I not?
Yeah, that's a good question. Can you let us know? Can we share your chart? It doesn't have your name on it, but it does have your birth information on it. I think they just said yes. That's okay. All right, great. So you can share your screen.
Okay. Let me pull this out. Okay. So this is your Vedic astrology chart, and there's two main charts that we look at. We have divisional charts, the D1 Rashi chart and the D9 Navamsha chart, and I will look at both because this chart here, just in a nutshell, is said to be your second half of life chart. So we look at it more and more as a person matures and as they get older. Also after marriage, it talks about destiny, the internal workings of someone's marriage, also the inner dignity of some of the planets that we see in the D1 chart. So I just kind of been looking at both. But just, in terms of giving insights around location for you, the first thing that stands out is that you are moon ruled. You're a Cancer ascendant in Vedic astrology. And so you will have an affinity for home. And then that goes into your 9th house, which is down here with Jupiter, both in Pisces. Jupiter is at 21 degrees, moon is at 23 degrees. So they're in very close proximity. They're not quite in a what we call planetary war, but you could still experience some conflict between having this affinity for home and wanting to stay close to home, and also wanting to expand as far as you can go. Moon is also in a Jupiter-ruled sign, and it's also going into a Jupiter-ruled house, the 9th house. And so, there's this push and pull you may experience. Ultimately, I see more indicators of someone who's more curious about expanding, learning, traveling, the otherworldliness. And so that ultimately seems like it will kind of dominate over this affinity for home. But, we always look at the chart ruler. That plays a huge role. And then you have the Rahu, which is very similar to the North Node in Western astrology here in your 12th house. And so again, I think another astrologer was referencing how it's the house of immigration. We would say it's like foreign lands. And so wherever Rahu goes is what you will seek out the most. It's what you will feel most drawn to. And that's why it ends up becoming your destiny, because you will chase and chase and chase, because Rahu has like an insatiable appetite. He will never stop. And so for you, that goes into this 12th house of foreign lands. I don't love that word, but places that are distant places. And then it's also in Gemini, and it's in the star Punavarsu. So I can see your nakshatras down here. It's in Punavarsu. So there's this theme here also around the star. It's the star of renewal. So a lot of like starting over again. And so I think that's where you may have been starting over again in different cities over and over again, because you're trying to satiate that appetite that you have for the other, for different experiences. But this 12th house is more about very distant lands. And so what I did notice about everywhere you live, it was domestic. You may fare better in an international destination.
And just has been over
and
2
I would
minutes,
speak
so
to
you
an
could just
actual.
pull it closed.
Okay.
Great.
I would just speak to an astrocartographer about actual locations, but I think you should consider an international location. And there is a certain transit that you're in is not great. So I don't have enough time, but I could explain more if you want to chat more.
Okay. Great, thank you. This is part of why the practitioners at the event, you could stop share, should be at the top in red maybe. Why they have specials is so that you could see them to do more if you want to go deeper. All right, great. It's kind of amazing, right? How much they can fit in 3 minutes. All right. Let's see. So, all right, great. And then Dre, I think you did not answer this one. If you have something you want to share, go ahead. It's optional. Okay, great. I think everyone else answered. Yep. Great. And then, oh, Alina, go ahead if you want to jump in and say something else quick.
Just real quick, if a person is making notes, I just looked at the charts while everybody else was talking. So the note of the dates, April 28th, 2026 until May 24th, 2026. And my system likes tight orbs, so you can easily add a month on either side. And that is the time when Jupiter will be direct conjunct your north node in your 12th. That's when you can start like seriously considering moving if this is what you're planning to do, if this is what you want to do.
Okay, great. Thank you. And the person that asked the question, if you had any comments, or just thank you again. Yeah, if you had any other comments, just let us know. If anything else comes in. And then we've got 2 more questions and maybe a third question in line already. I'm still managing all the questions that are coming in. Okay, great. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a 4th question. Okay, great. They just said thank you. All right, great. So practitioners, you should all have information on a 2nd question and information on a 3rd question now as well. And the 2nd question, I think the person is going to unmute and share. Is that correct? Great. Tell us your question. Oh, but I can't hear you even though you're unmuted. Are you talking?
No,
Great.
I'm not talking yet.
All right. Yeah, so tell us, what is your question?
This is sticky. There are 2 men, and they are Gemini sun and Pisces sun. My question might be what the future might be with either of them or both.
All right, great. With either or both. Okay, great. If people have your information, let's take them a moment. So yeah, practitioner, whenever someone's ready, let me know by raising your hand in Zoom. And
I just see everybody looking confused.
Yeah, they're all like looking at the chart, thinking about the chart, typing everything else. All right, Alina is ready to go. Go ahead, Alina.
All right, Venus and Gemini, whatever.
Okay, so I'm not a big relationship astrologer, but when it comes to Gemini and Pisces, do you know their birth dates, like where the sun is, which degree it would be in? Because that would help kind of more or less determine something, because your sun is in 28 degrees Taurus.
Right.
So the man who has a Gemini sun, if his sun is in early degrees Gemini, your suns may be conjunct. So there may be something there that you take energy from one another.
Okay.
Now,
yeah, I know
yes,
that his birthday is June 17th, 1953.
June 17th. Okay. So that is the very end of, if I remember correctly, that's the end of Gemini. Okay. And then when it comes to the Pisces sun, here's the thing: your relationship house, your 7th house, is in Capricorn in 23 degrees. Again, his Pisces sun may be making an aspect to your descendant, to your 7th house cusp, which is your relationship house, which that may make a more plausible unity here. Again, I will let somebody else who knows more about that talk. Sorry about my cat. But it's it's I don't know. All I can give is a lot of astrological and not much else really. um, because you're if your seventh house husband is in Capricorn, you're looking for stability. You're looking for a stable, very concrete relationship where everything is accounted for, and you can, he's a wall behind your back is what you want, you know. Um, Again, hard to tell whether any of them will be because that would take a whole natal chart to tell.
Mhm.
Which I don't expect you to know all the details for that. Um, but
I know a lot of it.
okay. But you're yeah. I can see that you're looking for stability. I just I'm not sure if you're gonna get a lot of it with the sun placement in either of those signs. I have sun in Pisces. I am as mutable as it takes. Okay, so yeah, there's that.
Thank you.
Great. Great. Thank you. All right. Next we have Erik and then Jennifer.
Yeah, it's a great question. What is your name again?
Penny,
Penny. Um, so when did you meet both of these around the same time, or how recent was this?
oh no, I've known one of them, the Pisces, for a year, the other for 3.
Okay, okay. Um, well, I suspect based on of course to look at like which one would be better suited for a relationship, perhaps it would definitely take a more than the time, the 3 minutes or so that we have to do
Mm-hmm.
this. But I will share that, Uranus is retrograding back to your natal sun. It'll get really, really close to it by February and into March. And what's happening with that is I do feel that there could be some surprises in your life that just show up in ways that you would least expect. Like, I mean, you might think of 100 different things about how that can show up. But that I would honestly first the like kind of waiting until that's done and be flexible in how your interactions with them and as far as like any commitments to them until after that period. I think that there's definitely going to be some significant changes in regards to the two guys that you're asking about. Obviously, to do more in depth with each of those we have to do some chart comparisons there. But yeah, that's one part, and then the other part is that Jupiter right now is been going. About to go back all the way to your natal south node. That'll take place. That station point take place in March. But as it's journeying there and it stations there, there's something about this potentially a karmic or past life connection. So it's possible that maybe one of these two guys, whatever one has a more of a could be a stronger past life connection, or there could be somebody else that comes in, not necessarily relationship related, but somebody else or some information or knowledge that comes in that can help you decide or connect with the purpose and which one that feels like you really want to draw into that life, or neither one, perhaps. But that's another experience there. So February and March are going to be like, I think, two powerful months for you in regards to this. And there will be other cycles after that that'll come in, but that's what I have to share around this that I think that really sticks out initially. There's other astrological initiations taking place, but those ones initially. And then, oh, I will mention that Pluto is in alignment with your descendant. So that to me thinks when it comes to trying to find stability in the relationship partnership and the quote the other, it's going to be hard to achieve during this time, but it can be a very powerful and transformational time as well.
Okay, I understand that in that the Pisces man has um, a really serious major surgery coming up. And I feel like I need to be there for that.
Ah, okay. That could be part of it for sure. Yeah.
All right, great. Okay, thanks so much. Next we have Jennifer.
Hi. Okay. So, um, just listening through and hearing this, yeah, I like the remembrance of that time frame you gave, Eric, in terms of the review of growth too. I and like when you met them, I looked a year ahead as well, just to kind of like get a sense of like what's coming. I noticed too right now, like Vesta's conjunct your Mars. You've got a couple indicators that you're working, yeah, you're working with a lot of moving parts and you're working with some chaos, but you're also getting a lot of like there's a lot of romance, Venus is moving through your fifth house right now. So for me, like if you're looking to who and how, it's like focusing on like you're being told right now what your value is, how what do you value in those relationships, and connecting on that soul level, because Venus is conjunct your moon, your natal moon, Vesta being conjunct your natal Mars. It's almost like whoever's giving you space to be who you want to be, is a more, to me, like you're being told, you're being shown right now who can handle who you are. Because when it's down to brass tacks, you're very efficient. You're kind of a no nonsense. You like your shit kind of tight. If I could be, Mars and North Node in Capricorn in the sixth house, it's like, I don't know what your kitchen looks like, but uh, you know, I and but you're being, your moon has always wanted you to be a little more free, and maybe there's this sense that the Pisces allows you to have that kind of whimsy and freedom, um, and you're able to create a container in which they can actually be loose like that. I can see that being a really beautiful connection. Um, all relationships have their stuff. Relationships with Geminis are particularly interesting, but you've also got Jupiter, you're stacked in Gemini, right? And you're stacked
I
in those late,
know.
you're stacked in that late degrees of Gemini too. So wherever his sun is in that late, you guys are, it's like you guys have two microphones on a talk show, probably at a party, you know. And so I'm curious like how those both thing. I happen to be poly. I don't think that there's any reason to get rid of any of the men, because
All right.
usually one isn't enough and two is too many, or two is too much, one is too much, whatever. But
Yeah.
you're perfect, right? So then, focusing on that desire to be free, and like that you like the variety and understanding what both of them like, I think is part of it. As it's been mentioned, Pluto's about to hit your descendant, and what relationships will hold through that reconstruction that you're going through, is more of the larger arc of what your life is heading towards, and you've just like our other, reading, the Saturn's moving through your ninth house, has just gone direct, and Neptune's about to move back into Aries out of there in your ninth house, so you're about to get some motivation too. So whatever you want to hitch onto, it's going to start going fast, now that Mercury is Saturn's direct. So, um, yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
great. Do you have any more answers? Totally optional, just if anyone has, panelists have something else to share, go ahead.
What I'm feeling right now is that there is no decision to be made at this point. And I think that's what the decision is, pretty much with all of you. And I'm okay with that.
I guess, what is the thing that prompted you to ask the question?
I've dealt with this for a while, and it's the probably most difficult part is knowing that the Pisces man is going to go through a surgery which he may not even make it through. And at the same time, I have this ongoing big feeling for someone else, and I worry about if I am not being honest enough with myself and with them.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for sharing. And Jennifer looks like she's got something else she wants to share. Go ahead.
That makes me feel something when you say that, but there is a lot of again, like the way your moon is in Sagittarius in the 5th house, like you're built for variety and freedom. And so like that to me is like the core of that. There is a lot of shift. And when you say, he may not live through it, I mean, I'm not we are not looking at his chart, but there's certainly upheaval and there's certainly shifting even in a month's time, in January. There's a lot of components looking at disruption. So whether that ends up being like the overlap of their worlds, Mars is making a conjunction over the next month to your, or a natal return over the next month as well. And Capricorn, so like I said, most of the thing, like the containment of things and the tightening up of stuff is coming your way. So I don't know exactly what that means, but I just felt compelled to share that. So
I appreciate that.
yeah.
There is entirely a possibility that he's not going to make it.
All right, and Marita's, yeah. Sorry, did you want to say something else? Finish that?
It's okay, and I know that I've I've been through this before, so it may be sort of a continuation of something I couldn't finish before.
Yeah. Marita has a little bit more to share. You're okay with that?
Well, I can provide some insights that I hope can help. So I'll just share my screen a little bit so you can see from a Vedic perspective that you sort of have this another stack in your chart in the Gemini sign. So your ascendant is there and Venus is there, which is most relevant to the question you've asked. And I think the only thing that came up for me was just that it will always be the case with Gemini that two things will be true at once. This is the sign of variety. This is the sign of also indecision. And so it sounds like those are two things that are coming up in your question that have come up for you a lot. And I think that my advice would be just, it's okay for two things to be true at once. And I think that also seeing that your moon is here in Scorpio also indicates just you feel things very deeply and very intensely. And so I think it's okay to have these very valid and strong emotions for both men, and being clear about where the pressure to choose one is coming from, and if that is something that you actually have to do, or if that's just sort of the pattern that you've been in, is that you feel that you have to make that type of decision. But this, this stood out to me. Your ascendant, your Venus, Jupiter, Ketu, all here in Gemini, would suggest the opposite, that like it's in your nature not to want to choose, to have that duality, like, and that might show up in other places in your life too, where like you've maintained two careers, or you've had, more than one best friend. Like there's always, everything comes in twos with Gemini. So, that's something that stood out to me. Also, like with your Rahu and Mars here conjunct in your 7th house, it also shows that you have this huge drive. You have this tendency to focus on relationships. And you have this just urge to create a union. But, you know, just giving yourself permission to create that however it works best for you and who you are at your core, I think is the advice and what's coming up. And also sometimes because this Rahu is here, will, like I said in the previous reading, it's insatiable. You know, you'll always want to focus on that. And it may be good to look at the transits, either from a Western or Vedic perspective, and think about if there's something else you could focus on, even temporarily, to kind of help you to compartmentalize a little bit so that you're not always like intensely feeling all of these emotions, trying to force a decision around these two love interests that you have. Is just kind of like give yourself a little bit of relief, because Gemini can also suffer from anxiety type issues, overthinking. You know, they're very cerebral by nature. So also just spending a lot of time thinking about it can kind of wear you down a little bit. So maybe just finding other things to focus on that are coming up in your chart that are also important in your life right now could help. Yeah.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, because I'm home alone right now and I need that. And I do love them both.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I understand.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
Thank you so much, yeah, for letting us support you in this question. All right. Yeah. Big questions. All right. Let's see. We've got 3 more questions in line. It seems to be they're coming in anonymous. I think I've sent the 3rd and the 4th to everybody, and I'll work on getting you the 5th out over this next question. All right. So the 3rd question. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure this is anonymous. Yeah, so you didn't say specifically. You gave me all your question though, so I think you want it to be anonymous. I'm just putting a note in the chat so you can see who it is. Did you want to speak to your question? Do you want your voice on screen? Or do you want me to read everything? I just sent you a private chat so I can read it. Okay, so anonymous. All right, so they sent their birth info. They're currently residing in St. Louis, Missouri. They want insight into 2026. What's coming? What's important for them to know? I think it's a female, if that matters for some of your charts. They'd also like to know from the astrocartographer, or from that perspective, what location is great for them. They didn't say like what they're wanting to experience in particular, but yeah, so what is insight for 2026? And then any information on location. And that's the, I'll just say the 4:29 a.m. So you all should know I have them labeled as 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and I'm going in order. So that's the 3rd one. Okay, great. Alina is ready. Go ahead and jump in, Alina.
So I built your solar return chart. That is the chart for the day and time when the sun goes back into the exact degree, minutes, and second, as it was when you were born. I built it for 2026. If you are making notes, your solar return will happen on October 28th, 2026 at 3:03 a.m. And the chart that I built was for St. Louis. So, unless you relocate by then the chart may look a little different based on the location. You have Sun and Venus in the 2nd house, which is a house of money, first and foremost, money and values and all the material possessions. Which, you know, Sun in the 2nd house of solar return is you're constantly working on bettering your financial financial state, and you may make certain purchases. They may not be very big, but they will give you pleasure. And you may also start doing some kind of like body practices, like yoga or something. That's when Sun is in the second house. Now, Venus in the second house of solar return is also signifying the good income, but you can also get income from like the Venus spheres, kind of like beauty, arts, stuff like that, and also depending on whether it's in your plans or not. So take it with a grain of salt. Very often that means the conception of a child. Venus in the second. Your moon in your solar return is in the ninth house. Now, moon in the ninth is, the travel, the learning and teaching kind of a balance, and it will also bring up your religious and spiritual feelings up. So you will want to expand more on that. And then your Mars, the Mars in your solar return chart is in the 12th house. And Mars in the 12th is just be careful with people who keep secrets from you. It's the 12th house is the house of secrets and undercover games. And that may also be something that you will do the work that's in a seclusion, like away from people. Mercury in the third house, the planet of communication and the house of communication. Yeah, there's a lot of writing and talking and short-term travel just to get your social circle expanded. So that's kind of the like the nutshell. It's not the full solar return analysis, but that's what I see from for you for 2026.
Great, thanks, Alina. We've got Erik and Jennifer in line. So Erik is next.
Thank you, Laureli. I just want to clarify this is the
Third question.
third, right?
This is the third
Yeah,
question.
just to make sure. Yeah, just that I have all the right information from that. Yeah, okay. So I just the first thing on the line that you have here, this third questioner, has to do with 2026. What's it going to be like for 2026? And I'd like to just share a little bit about that. The currently moving into the early part of 2026, it's still right now, it's still kind of in this situation where nothing is really, really that clear. Like it's not in a space where you're going to get very much clarity until then, once we get to past March. After March, then things start to, I think, come into a little bit greater focus. We have some of these other cycles that are Uranus in particular starts to move away, and then these other ones really start to move into and be more focused, like Pluto squaring your Sun and Saturn in a conjunction with your descendant. And what that means is there's still a lot of transformational things that are happening. And by the time we get to springtime, mid to late spring, is when that I think this not quite all the way clear, but you'll get some clarity in all of this. But keep in mind that in this, because based on your age, it's the midlife passage, and you're really in a space where a lot of change is meant to happen in a person's life as their soul is emerging and kind of going through this really, really big shakeup. But in that shakeup, there is like things that come in soul-wise, that help you reach for, what you really want, like coming into your life in unexpected ways. And one of the benefits of what's upcoming in the mid to late springtime is Jupiter going over your north node. And it almost gets there. It almost got there in November. It got close. It's still part of the cycle. But I think the main part of it is going to be in May and June of 2026. And that will help you really get into alignment, or at least get some understanding of where, on some level, we can call this loosely destiny. It doesn't mean it takes over, your free will. It just means that there's things that are going to be, you're coming into that is going to be in alignment. But also keep in mind that with the Pluto cycle happening too, that there is a lot of transformational death rebirth, shamanic death rebirth energy happening. And so it's always good to, during 2026, to do things that help clear the mind, spirit, and body. Maybe different types of yogic practices or shamanic journeys. Health-wise, absolutely, you want to definitely pay attention to that as well. So those are the kinds of activities that are going to be really, really critical for you to really step into like the greater level of yourself. And what I have is Libra rising. And with all these planets that are packed into Libra, you're here to really understand relationship partnership, not just romantic, but in connections and relationships with others, and work on it. You don't have to master it, but it's a spot that could be a really powerful, challenging spot for you. But at the same time, it can also provide a lot of rewards, not just in general, but like as one of your main paths to your divine purpose in this lifetime.
All right, great. Thanks so much,
There you
Erik.
go. Got it right on time.
Great. Thanks so much, Erik. We've got Jennifer, Marita, Sally, and Jane in line.
Hi. So I was just kind of pushing the dial so I can look at what's going on. And I often like to do a year ahead, thinking about where Jupiter is, because it's so oriented towards growth, and it takes about a year to get Jupiter through one sign. So, a 12-year cycle is kind of like enough to do a lot in your life. And so um, so often I'll start a year reading with like, well, where is Jupiter now? Where was it 12 years ago? When will it return to this point? Because you can look back. Right now, Jupiter is, just moving into, sorry, I pushed it ahead now. I'm like, where is it? I'm in March right now, but it's moving over your natal Mars in Cancer by March, and it kind of chills there with your Lilith, and this is before it hits your natal or your North Node by May, right? And so I don't know, like honestly, like when you said that, that makes me think I'm looking at a different chart, but I think it has to do with the way we read, but I'm looking at a Placidus chart and I see Mars and Lilith in the 10th house in Cancer, and Jupiter goes over that um in March of next year, which to me is like you I mean it's in the 10th house, which is like you may be incensed by the patriarchy at that point. I mean, I don't know what you're doing with your time, but with Saturn in your fourth house natally in Capricorn, it makes me think that your mother was your father. You were raised very much, with that kind of duty of being maybe both the matriarch and the patriarch as you grew older in your family. And there feels like there's going to be something that you're going to need to change about that. So if you're feeling resentful or ready to blow, I mean, this next year is really going to be your year to come out and just say what you actually want to be doing with your time and energy, where it has to do with you caring for people. I would assume you're, a voluntold caregiver, probably your entire life. You've also got your moon in Libra, which means that you prioritize. Have I got the right chart?
My
Okay.
moon is in Scorpio.
Say again.
My moon is in Scorpio,
Mine
but it's
says
in,
so. So I have October 19th.
It's the 28th.
That's why. I'm so sorry.
No
Okay, we'll
worries.
get this to make all sense. So go ahead, pause. Go ahead and sort out the chart again, and we'll come back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So next we've got Marita. Typos happen.
Okay, I'll share my screen. So this is your Vedic astrology chart, and I'm just looking at the transits, and what was coming up for me was more things around relationships. I was just looking at Jupiter here in your 11th house. Jupiter is currently at 0 degrees. It's retrograde, so it's going to kind of toggle between your 11th house, which will intersect with Rahu, and then it'll dip back into your 10th house of career. So that, like, when it's in Cancer, which for a short period, but it'll go back there next year too. That is going to activate Rahu. Which I've talked about in other consultations as well, which is anything Rahu touches is going to expand it. And Jupiter is also has that effect. It's an expansive energy. And so in a woman's chart, regardless of sexuality, that represents like spouse or partner or husband. So this indicates that this could be a time where that comes into play. But then I also noticed that Saturn is transiting your 7th house. So depending on your relationship status, that can either solidify a relationship in a formal way, or it often is known for causing divorce in a relationship. And that will also retrograde. Saturn annually retrogrades in July. When that happens, it could there could be something like a reversal with a relationship that comes back around, or some kind of lesson around a relationship that comes back around. Also, I noticed, what was the other thing I noticed? Rahu transiting here in your 6th house has a lot to do with and that will be there until December 6th of next year. That has a lot to do with focusing on your daily routines, like your health. There may be challenges that come about, but it's going to give you like that vigor and that grit to kind of fight through it. But it's definitely going to supercharge like your routines, your habits, your focus on your health. The 6th house is also about like the gym routines that you have, those kinds of things. What you will get kind of separated from. But there is an exception when K2 goes here in the 12th house, which is like a spiritual house. It may be like your sense of like, because it's there with your Mars, but it's kind of moving away, which is a good thing. But you could feel a little separated from your sense of motivation, or that sense of action and activity. But it will be a great time for spirituality as well. So the blending of those two things, like the mundane daily things, but also more recluse spiritual activity, to kind of organize yourself. Yeah, I wanted to focus on those outer planets.
I think we're
Yeah, that was
getting
kind of what I wanted
to.
to share. Yeah,
Great,
sorry.
great, thank you.
I'm sorry. Oh, yep.
Okay, great. And then we've got Sally and Jane next, and we have another picture that popped out. And I find and see if they can come back in. All right, great.
Okay, well, something kind of for everyone. If you're not aware of this or you don't study, there's going to be something that happens the beginning of April, which really kind of is untrackable. There's going to be 7 different characters in Aries all at one time. And we have not been able to track this because at the time, the last time even anything close to this happened, we didn't know that Neptune existed really. So it's untrackable exactly what happened. They're saying, maybe this happened 10,000 years ago. So this is really unprecedented. Well, I guess that would mean that your first house, which is fairly loaded, is going to have a lot of opposition, Aries opposition to it, which would tell me that there's going to be some things that go on with your partnerships, relationships, marriage, and how you feel into that. Also, potentially starting some type of legal, leading some type of legal thing. It very well could be you are tired of the patriarchy. It could be that. It could be something that you decided you're going to have, there's going to be some type of warfare and you're going to go on the war path. That's a potential. But I do think that however it works out, you're going to have a great amount of courage and tenacity to stick with whatever it is and to take the correct action steps. I think that the main thing is not to be too impulsive. It's going to be hard for all of us during that time to not be impulsive. But with you in particular, you don't, even though everything's changing, everything is on the go, you got the action behind it, you got the power behind it, this is a very hot energy. So you're going to have to really remain as cool as possible without losing your top with some people that you love, people that are around you. So my advice to you would be definitely stay in whatever practice it is that you do, yoga, breathing techniques, EFT, something like that. Whatever it is for you, prayer, writing, do it.
Great. Thanks, Sally. Next, we have Jane.
Okay, and I think I am gonna share the screen if you'll allow me, Laureli.
Make you co-host. Great.
Okay, so I believe that there was an inquiry about the location here. So
there was.
Okay, so I'm gonna just talk about where you're currently at and a little how it influences your current chart. Right now, you're closest on your Saturn line over in St. Louis, Missouri. And that is a moderate influence for you. And actually, the Saturn line is great if you're a professional person and you really have some goals that you want to accomplish and that you enjoy working. And I'll tell you that your Saturn is well suited in Libra. It's actually quite happy there. And so this would show that you would have some professional capacities, particularly with interacting with other people. And your Saturn is very close to your Mercury, so it's also showing that you could have some gifts with your communication, being able to make form with what you're communicating, having good boundaries with your communication. Now, your Saturn makes some nice harmonious aspects over to Venus and Neptune. So you've got some positive things with this Saturn location in St. Louis. This does open the opportunities where you're able to communicate things that maybe is of a loving feminine nature. Also possibly of things that you might be interested in about things that are connected with spirituality and with just being harmonious, having more positive communications. Now, I will say that the Saturn line, it can be a little bit heavy and burdensome, but it's good for, putting out your goals and trying to do the steps to accomplish your goals. Now, I would say it's much better to get a more exact astrocartography reading, but I will tell you where you're currently at. You're on the Venus-Saturn crossing line, which can make relationships stable, but possibly a little dull. it can or it could make relationships with a lot of professional people or with people who are of Capricorn nature or who have a strong Saturn in their chart. Now, I was wondering where there might be some kind of interesting place for you to possibly visit. And the best way to understand astrocartography is actually just to go and travel and experience it and test it out yourself. So I was thinking, wow, I wonder what it might be like for her Venus and her Neptune, because I like how your Venus and Neptune is having the harmonious blue aspects, which is more connected with gifts and talents, and Venus is dealing with pleasures, and Neptune is dealing with ideals. So it could be a great place for vacation getaways. Now, your Venus does make some challenging aspects, but I'm focusing most on the major aspects for this purpose. So when I was looking over, wondering where you might be able to tap into your Venus and your Neptune line, this could be a great place if you like to write poetry or if you just want to relax your mind. So I targeted in on St. George, Utah. So that is a very highly Mormon place. So that's at least more than 50% Mormon. So if that's something that would trigger you and be a turnoff, it's just something to know, but it could be a beautiful place to visit. It has a lot of beautiful scenery. And if you enjoy the outdoors, it may be something to consider. I also found that this had a crossing line of Jupiter and North Node, and that can be good for long distance travel in foreign natures. Also, I highlighted, I'm out of time here, but Cedar City in Utah and Kalispell in Montana. So if Lorelei wants to get your email, I'll send you this document, and so you can have more insights on it.
All right. Thank you all. Very helpful.
No wonder you're not hearing. My microphone is up here. Thank you so much for letting me know. Okay, practitioners, we're going on to our fourth reading. I should say thank you so much to the person that asked the third question. Thank you so much, and thank you for all the answers. Okay, so we're moving on to the fourth question. And there was a change in the birth time, everyone. It went from 1:10 a.m. to 1:01 a.m. So you might need to update your chart. I sent a message in the chat, but I want to make sure you saw that. So the fourth reading, and we've got a fifth one in line too. So the fourth one says, I'm a life coach who has begun to incorporate human design into my offerings. I'm a 6-2 projector in human design, for those of you who know what that is. And then what I would like to know is, how can I best serve my clients, be it through writing, art, coaching, shadow work, etc. So using their astrology, right, their human design, 6-2 projector, and a life coach, right, incorporating human design with their clients. All right, great. Okay, so Alina and then Erik. Go ahead, Alina.
Okay, so you have Mercury in Scorpio, which means either very tough, sharp tongue or a lot of tough love. And that is the communication style that you probably already naturally have. I'd suggest embracing it and working with it, especially considering that your ninth house, and that is your house of expansion, is in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. And you can just put it all together and give a little tough love to your clients. Don't be afraid to be a little on the meaner side, politely, of course, and professionally. But truth doesn't have to be thrown into anyone's face like a wet rag. It can be served as, an expensive coat on your shoulders. So that's the expensive coat of a tough love that you can give your clients. Your third house has both moon and sun in them, and from what I see, your third house cusp is in Virgo, um, based on the change time, and uh, most of your third house is in Libra. Your sun's in Libra and moon is in Libra. So you can be that balancer, that peacemaker, that, why can't we just all get along? Damn it. Okay, that's the kind of style that I see here. And just embrace it. Embrace your Scorpio Mercury. Let him serve the truth and come out from the dark side. You mentioned shadow work. That may be where you can actually work with your clients on that shadow work level. Shadows are not enemies; they're your friends, and you can help them be friends with their shadows with your Scorpio Mercury.
Okay, great. Thanks, Alina. Next we have Erik and then Sally.
All right, thank you. Yeah, this is a great question. When I see your chart, it definitely fits somebody who is going to do something in their life that is going to go right to the heart of the matter, go really, really deep into things. And particularly with your Uranian aspects on your chart, to actually do things that are kind of outside the mainstream, to be a change agent in this world. And when I say kind of the deep levels, like things like shamanic practitioners or psychology, or the on the other modalities like astrology or human design and tarot and other things that can go and dive into the deeper realms, because you are a healer in this world, and you're meant to also at the same time explore sort of this free space of seeking out meaning and truth. So as you go in and work with your clientele, you're also learning and divining things within yourself and your own truths and meaning that are coming out, not just in general, but as a part of the path to your own life purpose. You're also somebody, it's a word I like to use for those that have really strong Scorpio, which you do, and some Leo energy. It's the word creatrix. Now, everyone's got some shade of that, but for Leo and in Scorpio, it's like they're like at some of the near maximum potential for that. It's one of their big strong suits. So you have some great potential to manifest things, and helping others do the same as well. Not only with for yourself, but of course your clientele in that regard. And you're actually at a time now, and this is really interesting, where the lunar nodes are completely reversed. So the north to south and south to north. And when this happens, it's an axis of the past and the future coming together in the present moment, but also some kind of a significant decision point as well. So there's something going on at this moment through at least next month in this sort of this window of opportunity for you. And you're getting, let's see, as far as decisions go, yeah, you're getting one last pass of a Saturn squaring your Jupiter. So yeah, there could be something about your future that you need to make a decision on soon. And you may have already gotten some clarity about what that is. So I'll kind of leave it at that for now. There's definitely other things I could share, but those are some of the big ones right there.
Great. Thanks so much, Erik. Next we have Sally. We can't get you unmuted. Yeah, okay, great.
Can can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I love what you said, Erik. I loved it. I totally agree with that. When you were talking, when the question came up about working with shadow, also I agree with Alina. I do think that shadow work is good, but I wonder if you have uh, done with through human design or any of your work, if you've really focused in on helping people with uh, traumatic family situations, maybe ancestral uh, trauma of some sort. I think that might be really kind of you've got such a way with alchemy. I think that might really be a great way for you to use your gifts. Um, if it calls to you, it's gonna be very easy, like you've known this the whole time, or you're already doing it. I wouldn't be surprised if you weren't already doing that. Um, I think that you've got a beautiful chart, and it's really uh, balanced. I think that you're. I agree. You're probably right at the moment right now where you're going to have to make some type of decision. Um, I think it might have something to do maybe with eight house matters. You know, other people's money, secrets that are being kept from you, something like that. So, or maybe you're keeping secrets. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna leave it to somebody else.
All right, great. Anyone else have something they want to share about this one? This is the fourth question. I'm a life coach incorporating human design, 6-2 projector and human design. Yeah, what would I like? Oh, how can I best serve my clients? All right, Marita's got an answer. Go ahead, Marita.
Yeah, I can share some insights. So this is your Vedic chart, and I was just kind of seeing what comes up for me when I look here. I notice a lot of influence from Mercury in your chart. So you're a Cancer ascendant, which is moon ruled. It goes here in the third house, which is an emphasis on communication, learning, sharing that knowledge with others. And then it goes into Virgo, a Mercury ruled sign. And then when I look at your Gemini Kartikas, which is like, we have a way of looking at certain significators by just the degree of the planet. And so for you, your Atma Kartika, which is like your soul indicator, it's the planet with the highest degree in your chart, is also Mercury, um, which says that you have a technical nature to you, where you deal a lot with the facts, and it could be such that your style is to collect a lot of information and present it back in a very factual way. And what could be helpful, how you could better serve your clients. Oh, and I meant to say that your Amatya Kartika, which is the second highest degree, is Saturn. And it's in the sign of Sagittarius. And so there's a Jupiter influence, but Saturn would also indicate a lot of structure around how you set up your services. So it could be like, honestly, like a little too rigid. And since you're dealing with like human design and metaphysical, spiritual topics, you could better serve by giving less about the facts, more about your lived experiences. Saturn is supposed to play like a huge role in your career, in your career path, how you serve. So Saturn is all about life experience. He teaches you through hard-won lessons. It's also going into this house of enemies and house of challenges and battles. Sixth house rulers is in the sixth, and so you could emphasize more how you fought your battles throughout life, and how like spiritual warfare is what's coming up, and your lived experiences, and also storytelling. But it seems like by nature you may be more factual, want to present things in a factual way, and in a little in a distant way, where people may benefit more from that anecdotal perspective, and focusing more on how they can overcome their adversities. There was something else I think I wanted to share. No, I think that was it. but just around that Mercury influence, and then also the sixth house influence, and how Saturn is about how we serve. It's like our karma to the world, and it's there with Jupiter in the sixth house, and how those themes come online, and how it's your Amatya Kartika. So that's all about your career, your soul's path, and things like that. But yeah, I think that's what I wanted to share. Yeah.
All right, great. Anything else? Okay, great. Jane's got something. Go ahead, Jane.
Okay, well, I'm going to be speaking on your nodes and talking to you about how you said you wanted to know how you can best serve your clients. And so the nodes really tell the big story of the chart. Everything can go back to the nodes because it can show what you've come into this lifetime with, your strengths and also your challenges. It's one of the most karmic planets. And for you, you have your south node in Pisces and your north node in Virgo. So some things that you can really work when you're coaching with your clients is teaching them about the strength of Pisces and the downside of Pisces. So really working with your clients, asking them, how are you in victimhood right now? How are you having a victim consciousness right now? What are you doing that where you have an addiction, even if it's just a soft addiction? What are you doing where maybe you're sacrificing yourself too much because you're trying to rescue someone? How are you possibly dealing with feeling your abandonment? Very much connected in with Pisces. And are you somehow playing the role of the martyr? So, really, at the best, Pisces is more about your spirituality and understanding your subconscious. So, that would be something else to be thinking about, as well as meditations and visualizations and dealing with art and music. Now, when you bringing in also taking responsibility, not blaming other people. And also possibly doing some kind of art for as a healing modality. Now, some things with that Virgo North Node is really focusing on routines, creating a routine. How can people be of service to others? How can they improve in some way with a solid work ethic? How can they be of service? How can they be doing practicing? Because practice is all about Virgo energy, practice at making perfect. How can they manage stress? How can also Virgo's very much connected in with diet. So is there any kind of foods or supplements that they can be focusing on? And also Virgo is really also about not, it's good to see the minutia detail, but not to get so obsessive about it. And just be thinking about, yes, life is a forever improvement, but we're never going to be perfect. So those are some of the themes of those nodes for you. And you also have the North Node close to Virgo, which does show that you really can be doing transformational work with people, helping them on the day to day with their life.
All right, great. Great. All right, so I think that's, let me see if there are any more comments. Let's see. So this was okay, great. So this person is saying thank you, and then their focus is addictions in all forms, codependency in the shadow. Everything shared was spot on. Thank you. All right, great. Great. All right, we're on to our fifth question. So this will be our last question for the night. All right, so this person, they've added a little bit of layer of the question. But the fifth question should be clear for all of you, I think. I just wrote a couple notes. Let's see. So their two big questions are about a place to live, and then also they added any general advice on 2025, 2026. So what's a good place for me and my kids to settle in long term anywhere in the world? If this January is a good time to move for a temporary 1 year or so move. Yeah, so a question of if this January is a good time to move for a temporary 1 year approximately move. And then they're interested in good health, financial security, good love, marital life, just best overall place to thrive for the whole family. So this is the mom and a bunch of kids. and any general advice on 2025-26. All right, Alina is the quick answer. This is great. Okay, Alina is ready to
Yeah,
go.
I will just answer one part of it and then I'll work on the other part. I cannot do the location because I will leave this to Jane because she's a pro. Okay, so but here's the thing. Yet again, we have someone who has Jupiter transiting through their 12th house. Uh, there's something is in the air, and now Jupiter is currently retrograde in your 12th, and the 12th house is the house of immigration. Um, to at least consider moving somewhere, I would wait until it goes direct. And from what I see, it's about mid-March of next year. So I do not see January as necessarily the most possible month to move. Um, Probably in March it's just gonna get warmer, and Jupiter starts moving directly in your 12th, and that's when you can go back to that question and see if it's still on the table, because things may still happen between January and March. Now, I
Can I throw in
somebody else.
Can I just throw in something that I know is like, I know this person is looking at taking a new job. And so probably they asked about January because if it's January and like that's what they should do, they might not take the new job and they might move instead. So that's why that timing. Go ahead.
The Pluto is in your 6th house. Welcome to the club. It's in mine too. So there is a lot of transformation going on when it comes to workplace and just general daily routines. So no wonder you're thinking about it. That being said, again, I don't necessarily see January as the most plausible month for that. I will roll back to the other part of the question. I just need to look at the chart again, and I will let somebody else answer in the meantime. Okay?
Okay, great. Thank you so much. All right, Erik is next.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, there's definitely a couple things to really talk about here. As far as moving goes, it's kind of a mixed bag. I don't necessarily see it as like the number one priority here. However, there's something really important that's going to be occurring after January. That is, a really rare cycle. Saturn and Neptune are conjuncting in February of 2026. And it just so happens that the Mercury position of this person here with this fifth question has their Mercury at 0 Libra, which is opposite. So there's something really powerful about that there potentially could be a moment where you may be able to kind of bring in something that you've wanted and try to bring it into form, or at least see a vision of that potentiality showing up in the future. So it's a really powerful time. It's a powerful time for humanity in general, because Saturn and Neptune are only conjunct every 35 and a half years. In addition, Jupiter going through over your rising sign and your Venus position, it also shows something in there with regards to relationships. And also there is something about house and opportunities and household or family and opportunities. But I feel like, the previous person here, that next year may be a better time, but in the same moment, I would say to kind of wait. Okay, and then one last thing I want to point out, like once Saturn moves into like Aries with Neptune and when they conjunct in February, I think the decisions, like the sort of the hard, intense decision points, I think it'll start to ebb away. Whatever stresses that are there, you will have made a decision whether to stay or to go in January. I think that from there, then you're going to kind of relax a little bit. But I also want to point out that there's going to be some healing that is going to be needing to be done around family. Like that's something that looks like an intention through part of 2026 as well. So something to keep in mind there. That's all I got to share.
Great, thanks. Next we have Sally and then Marita. So go ahead, Sally, if you are ready. Whoops. Sally just went off video, so we may switch to Marita next, and then Sally, are you ready? Okay, great.
Sorry about that. My mouse is messing up here. You're in a nodal return, my dear, which is uh, definitely a coming of age. So it's time for you to move. But I would agree, just in general, if you can keep from it, if you have the choice, I would. Of course, you're just wanting to move for a year, so you could consider that a long vacation, and it is in the ninth house. Your north node is in the ninth house, so uh, overall, though, I think for everybody, it's a pretty good rule of thumb to hold off, and I would say, looking at your chart, the best time would be to let that February 20th conjunction that Erik was talking about with Saturn and Neptune spread out a little bit, because right after that, we're going to experience what I was talking about with all the planets being in Aries, and that's going to be right up at the top of your chart. So I definitely see you're going to have another job, definitely, and it may come sooner rather than later. Just because all those planets are going to be crossing over your midheaven. So I would say, though, put that off as long as you can, so you're moving in a little bit more. I think that after May, we're going to know a little bit better. Everybody's going to know where we're sitting a little bit better than we do now. I hope that makes sense to you, but I right now, everything is up in the air for the entire world. Everything is just going through a major shift. And if nothing else, if you could just, sit still and breathe, you're going to make the right choice regardless for your family. And it will all turn out fine. So, Godspeed.
Great, thank you. And then Marita, I think you had your hand up. Did you want to go? Okay, great.
Yes, thank you, Lorelei. Let me share screen. Okay, so this is your Vedic chart, and I want to turn on the transits. The immediate thing I notice is in your chart, yes, are also having a nodal return in Vedic, from a Vedic perspective. It's actually like almost conjunct, like it's just passing over right now. And it is happening in your ninth house. So that's going to definitely like increase this desire for travel, and expanding yourself, expanding your horizons. But I would say like you have also just entered Sati Sati, which is a time when it's a 7.5 year transit of Saturn, where he goes from the sign before your moon, the sign of your moon, and then the sign after your moon, which, it's not that you should or shouldn't move, but what happens during this time creates a lot of mental pressure. You're also in a Mahadasha where moon is the planet that is your dasha and Saturn is your bhukti, or like the subdasha. So it's adding to that effect of like things are kind of slowing down. Saturn's also moving closer and closer to your Mars, your natal Mars. So that's also going to slow things down a little bit. This prospect with the job, I think that's what's more relevant right now, because Saturn's transiting your 10th house. So, Sati Sati can bring some good karma as well. But ultimately, like you will experience like setbacks. There's a lot of mental pressure that happens under Sati Sati. So mental health becomes very important, especially being in your moon dasha. Is just it's going to be a time where making decisions might feel really hard, just because you could feel like lethargic, or you could be very indecisive. Like the more things slow down, the more you may feel compelled to make a decision, like a big decision, right? Like move or change jobs or something like that. But this time when Saturn is transiting around your moon is actually more about like inner workings and internal structuring and restructuring rather than outward. And so the more you can focus on like this internal world rather than external, that will be good. But it's kind of starting. It's not the most pressure. It peaks when it hits your natal moon. So you can see your natal moon is here in Aries in the 11th house. And that's where you might see more themes around friendships, your network, your professional networks, your income, your hopes and wishes. You might start to see changing and being restructured. But ultimately, I would say that travel maybe would be a good way, especially with Rahu here having its nodal return, would be a good way to kind of feel some reprieve, but an overall move may not be the best time. You may experience a lot of setbacks and you'll feel unsettled. That's the point. Like Saturn's gonna be putting pressure on you. You may feel unsettled no matter where you go. So I would highly recommend seeking the advice of an astrocartographer, just because even moving to like a Saturn line will intensify this even more. So I would say just be cautious if you go ahead and decide to make the move, because this is like a very big transit and it's not known for the best outcomes. It's like creates a lot of pressure and stress.
And you're out of time. Is there anything to finish up, or is that good? Okay.
Nope, that was it.
Great. All right. Next we have Sally, and then Alina has something else to share.
Oh, real quick, can we verify what her ascendant is? I'm having trouble verifying this. So is she 22 Cancer astrologers using Placidus?
So I've been texting with this person. I can check if they know their ascendant.
Did any other astrologer pull it up?
It's showing 14 Leo for me.
Okay, so let's is it the location of the birth? Because I know we had a question about the location, because it was a really tiny city.
Yeah, I'm just having some challenges with finding it, so I wasn't sure what other people got for her ascendant.
For the city. So I did find it. If you have an iPhone, my map could find it. If you type it in.
I found it on one of my softwares, but then I couldn't verify it on the second one, and that makes me nervous.
That's why I would just look on your map. Look on your map. Just look on your map to find where the location is, and then you can find a bigger city near it. And I sent you in the chat, I sent you some other big city, and I think I sent you a couple other cities where it could be. Sorry, I didn't see your question.
Oh, I see. All right, I'll try that. Mansa. It's hard when it's like a different country and there's two different things they list. I don't know how.
I know our software is like biased, probably more towards certain areas of the world than others. All right, let's see. So Sally has a little bit more, Alina has a little bit more, so we'll do that, and then we'll come back to Jane. Right, Sally, you had a little more too, right?
Yes. Now I'm a little concerned because I have 26 degrees Cancer. So rising. So I'm probably on the wrong chart too.
Do you need the town that I plugged in the private chat? Because I can just type it in what I put into my chart software.
So they shared their moon, but I don't. Yeah, okay. No.
Yeah, I just couldn't get my software to pull up anything different. It's
not Aries. Like the old days. Their moon sign is Aries, if that's helpful to anyone. Yeah, and someone's software used Ludhiana, Ludhiana for the city. Ludhiana. And Virgo is sun, so it should be, yeah, so Virgo sun, Aries moon. Yeah, Virgo sun, that should be the same for everyone.
Okay,
Ludhiana.
And when I used Mansa, I got 15 Cancer ascendant.
Yeah, it's not
How did I
pulling.
get Leo?
Just having a hard time. I have another client. I even thought that this might be her. That I have the same issue getting a chart on her.
Can all of you stay just a few more minutes because I know we're getting close towards the end. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it can be sometimes confusing.
I don't remember. I don't know. Yeah, the moon or the ascendant. I don't know which things
Mhm.
change so much with location. So I'm. Yeah, she said Aries moon.
Mhm.
Well, if anybody has the correct one, could they share their screen?
I think I pulled up 15 Cancer with Mansa.
I think that's what I had. 15.
Yeah.
Or no, I had 28. Yeah.
Oh, 20.
Hold on. Now I don't even remember. With Venus, I've still got 26. I did another one. I've still got 26 Cancer, so that's not right.
Yeah, Mansa's pretty close. Mansa.
Yeah, I couldn't get that.
Or Bathinda.
My platform wouldn't find Mansa. It's just it can be stubborn.
Then my other software brought up 21 degrees Cancer.
Well, I'm
Can
using
I?
Solar Fire for my astrology software, so I don't know if it's
What
the
did you get?
calculations are 21 Cancer
21.
with Mansa as the birth city at 2:30 a.m.
Okay.
Do you want to share
That's-
your screen, Eric?
I got 20.
If
I got
everyone
20.
Yeah,
that
it
would be
doesn't have the
helpful.
name listed, so I can
Right.
share it. That's all right.
I haven't given you all names as a way we could help make this, a little safer.
I also got 21 using Solar Fire. So I'll just go with that.
Is it possible to ask the person who posed the question why they're asking about moving?
Okay.
Or
So, yeah. So
just
Hold on.
Sometimes different softwares they might have some minor calculation differences. So that could be
Okay.
one of the reasons why.
I know said they want to find a place
I
to
may
permanently.
still have the wrong Mansa retrograde. I put the date incorrectly. Okay.
Okay, yeah, it's okay. But say they want to find a place to settle permanently. They spent a bunch of time in California. They're now in Washington, right, as you all know. And I think that there have been from what I know, there have been more like changes in their life. Like, so they recently they stopped working at a job that wasn't a good fit for them. And they took a break and then they've been applying for other jobs and they're like about to take a job. But then they're also, you all pointed out some things with family. I just know there are lessons around all that stuff. So really looking now that they're at a transition stage anyway, like where should they be? What would be a good place to settle? And there was a question asked recently, and there was ideally they have the birth information for all the kids and look at all that together, and it's kind of there's a lot, it's complex, but so what can we get just from this person's chart?
Well, the nodal return still sticks through, so I'm gonna stick with my original forecast. Nothing has changed for me here. I feel like you should probably wait if you can, but regardless of what's going to happen, you are definitely going to have a new job, new experience. You're probably going to be quite the heavyweight in whatever the new job situation is, which when that happens, when we have things that go over any of these main axis points, you're gonna experience changes across the board. So, and you're about to have a whole bunch of them after the spring.
A whole bunch
Because
of
everything
changes
fills
after
in
the
and moves
spring.
forward.
You said a whole bunch of
Yeah,
changes after the
well,
spring.
I'm going to say first 6 months of the year. I'll just use that broad.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah, I would
you're
agree.
gonna,
I would
yeah,
agree with you,
yeah,
Sally.
yeah. I mean, everybody is, but specifically in this case, and I think that letting the dust settle or taking a beat, and taking a beat and letting everything kind of just flesh out, you'll know where you're going to be, or we're all going to know where we're going to be a little bit better than when we do now. We'll at least know which way to turn, right or left. But for you particularly.
And for any of you still having trouble with your software, right, the coordinates are there on the top left, so you might be able to just use the coordinates if you can't find a city. Right, 29 degrees north, 59. I don't know how to read this. 0, 75 degrees. Yeah, E23. Yeah, thank you. The arrow.
Yeah.
Great. Very cool.
Oops.
Does anyone want to still have this chart up, or who else wants to answer, and what did you want to do? Oh, Alina wants to share something. Go ahead, Alina. Do you want to keep the chart up?
No, it's fine. I think, like I said, the remnants of Mercury retrograde was still affecting me because I plugged in the completely incorrect date of birth. Okay, so I built the solar return chart. If you need to know when your solar return next year is, it is August 30th of 2026 at 6:26 p.m. That's when the sun goes back to where it was when you were born. You have Mars in your sixth house. We're talking about, the job and relocation. Mars in the sixth house and solar return means that you will probably be very active with your work, and you may get some kind of a leadership position at the workplace. Now, whether that means relocation or not, I don't see the relocation necessarily. You have Sun and Mercury in the seventh, and that's a lot of focus on relationships with whether the partner or the co-workers or business partners or people that you don't get along with. That's where the seventh house is also. But I'm not seeing necessarily a move. So you may find yourself where you are, just maybe in a different workplace or maybe in the same workplace, but under different circumstances because things may change by the time you hit your solar return. So that's kind of that's what I see when it comes to work, and that's Mars in the sixth, and sixth house is the house of work and daily routines, like the day-to-day job. So that's what I see. I'm not seeing the relocation. I'm sorry, not next year. Maybe I'm missing something, or maybe it's not the next year. That's not in the stars.
Yeah.
So, different perspectives. So, yeah, who else wants to? We're getting our charts corrected. Okay, go ahead, Jane.
Okay, so I'm not able to give you a definitive answer of where would be a best place because I'm feeling a little unsure of everything with my two softwares not matching up, and I think we need more time. Yours is kind of complex, but I will tell you what it looks like where you're at right now in Kent. So on Kent, you are near the Jupiter line, and that can be good for philosophical, religious matters, higher education, optimism. And this it can also be noteworthy because not only are you on the Jupiter line, but you also have a connection where there is some challenging kind of energy of Moon Saturn. And that can show the mother with a lot of responsibilities, right? So it is good you're on the Jupiter line and it's kind of lightening up that energy, but Moon Saturn can be kind of a heavier energy, a little pessimistic, feeling restricted, confined. It's, or just particularly possibly challenges in the home, possibly limitations in the home, or like it's just. It's just not the most optimistic energy. It's more possibly promoting some pessimism and sadness. And so this, I would say the best way to utilize this energy at this time is to be thinking about, higher education and education with the children, and how do you want to be teaching them with different metaphysics, philosophies, or religion. That's the best use of this right now. And I apologize that I'm not able to give you any more additional insights, but I will say that in your chart that you do have Jupiter in Gemini. So it's great for expanding your knowledge, your communication, and just know that in your personal chart, you do have Jupiter making a harsh aspect to your sun. So maybe it's like sometimes you take on too much. And with all the children, how could you not be? So you just want to try and delegate your responsibilities as much as possible. Honestly, as the children get older, they should be taking ownership of themselves and doing different chores. A lot of times this is getting, not so usual. Like when we were younger, we were doing chores and had responsibilities. So when the children are starting to be the appropriate age, start delegating things to them. And also with Jupiter and Gemini, get yourself to the library and have some fun at the library, the good old-fashioned library. Find out what activities are going on there, and also utilize everything in that community of groups, organizations, and possibly any friends that you can be connecting with in there. That's all energy that is utilizing with this 21 degrees Cancer. Jupiter's in the 11th house that deals with friends. So reach out to your friends, your groups and organizations. Jupiter is dealing with churches. Be connected in with some type of church or metaphysical, or go and listen to lectures, or even if that's just you're in your home and you're listening to the lectures. So that's what I have for you with that.
It's great. I can say too, I just know from consistency with the chart and the experience, the reason why a big reason why the last job was left is because they took on way too much, so much more than they were getting appreciated for and paid for. And so, yeah, definitely been lessons around those things. And the kids are all still elementary school and younger. So yeah, that's a lot of things.
And one last thought, now that you mentioned in that, it's also that you could have problems with females, and that females could be hypercritical to you with that Moon Saturn connection. So, or that you in general would be feeling critical of other females too. So that is just a thought with that.
That's great. I think there are lessons with person's mother and things like that too. So probably sibling.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
mother,
yeah.
definitely.
Yep. All right, great. All right. Anyone else wants to say about this fifth question?
Right. I would just add one more thing that I was seeing. Let me see. So I just saw like the ninth house. I know I said travel, but also like if that is inaccessible, the ninth house also represents religion and just higher learning, higher education in general. You also natally have Jupiter in your 12th house. So naturally you may like grow, and how you expand yourself and how you like to explore would be through spirituality. You have Venus as your Atma Kartika. So you have like you can have like just by nature, like have a lot of desires, and you can be like your worldview can be based on like wanting to achieve what you want, or, have things done in a certain way according to what pleases you. And this can be a difficult time for like Venetian souls, because when Saturn comes, he wants you to he doesn't give you what you want. Like Saturn gives you what your karma is, and that can be good or bad, but it can be harder if you try to cling on to all the things that you want, or the way you see things, or the vision you had for yourself, especially when it comes to this move, like, or anything else. Like I would say, the less you try to force things, like force your will and just surrender, is going to be better. And those lessons, those deeper spiritual lessons, can come through exploring spirituality and religion, when like travel is not accessible. But I just noticed like Venus is in your first house, and it's your Atma Kartika. So it's very high in your chart, where like your worldview could be around like focusing on the things you want and trying to like force that into manifestation. But that wouldn't be like a good approach right now. It will make this time of your life a lot harder. So surrendering is the the path of least resistance right now. But yeah, that was the last thing I saw. Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, let's see. We're going to close out so that the practitioners all have a chance to share again about who they are, what they do, how you can reach out to them. If they have a special, there's information about that in the chat. Also, I put them in the order that they'll be introducing themselves. So we'll hear from Marita, Erik, Jane, Alina, and Sally. Go ahead, Marita, and take a minute or so to go ahead and share.
Okay, yes. So I'm Marita, and I'm with Indigo Oracle, and I focus on Vedic astrology pretty broadly on different subjects like consultation types, like all the different variation of questions we've covered today. I have consultations that focus on that, or anything custom that you can think of, like auspicious time for move or anything like that. We can discuss. As I mentioned earlier, I'm also doing activations. So a lot of vendor fairs. You can follow me online just to stay updated about where I'll be activating. Also going to be incorporating workshops and lectures into 2026. As I've mentioned, I have personally used astrology since I was in my teens, now in my 30s, and now I use it professionally to help others, help them make really clear decisions, understand life experiences, understand themselves, understand others in a more clear way. And my special for coming to this panel is 20% off of any consultation for the month of December. So, and that includes custom consultations if you think of something you don't see on my site. And yeah, it's been a pleasure to be here. And I hope what I've said and shared has provided some clarity, and hope to see some of you again. Thank you.
That's great. And your code for getting 20% off is in the chat.
Yes.
All right, great. And so it's with indigooracle.com where people can find you. All right, great. Erik.
Yeah, Erik Roth here, shamanic astrologer, and I'm here to help people thrive in their life by using the language of astrology or shamanic astrology, and develop and connect with our language of the stars and the sky and the earth. So I can work with couples, families, even astrolocation or astrocartography, and helping integrate and incorporate astrology and working with the planets as spirit guides. And you don't have to understand or memorize astrology in order to work with that on a really basic level. This kind of astrology can be also used in ceremony and different, and whether it be like personal or in like group ceremony. I can help people plan for events and things along those lines. And working with the planets as transit initiators so that you can figure out like what direction you need to go and make informed decisions for yourself. And you can find me at inspiralnexus.com, and there's a discount code that Laureli posted as well for this particular event. And look at the options. I also can work with people on a monthly level. I teach, including the night sky and one-on-one astrology, and soon there's going to be group astrology classes as well coming up in the future.
Great. Thank you so much, Erik. Did you want to say your website?
Oh yeah, inspiralnexus.com, and it's typed out on the on the chat.
It's in the chat.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure people watching the video can tell, right? And so you've got 15% off various sessions with a code in the chat. All right,
Yes.
great. Next is Jane.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jane Masteller, and I specialize in location astrology, helping you find the most auspicious place for travel, relocation, or remote activation. So if you know your exact birth time, you can have an idea of where these auspicious locations are. In addition to the astrology location readings, I also can look into your relationship astrology, give you insights into your natal chart, and also forecasts for the year ahead and upcoming years. I do also offer a monthly subscription where I'm checking in with you on a monthly basis and talking about your forecast. So you can find me on janemasteller.com. And for any 1 hour reading for the month of December, it's $20 off. You'll have to email me so we can arrange it. I don't have a coupon code set up for the website, but my email is jane@janemasteller.com. Thank you.
All right, great. And then Alina.
My name is Alina, and I am also known as Subtle Matters. I took my background off because it was messing with my head. And my website is bio.site/subtle.matters. It has everything that I do have, offer, all the contact information, everything. My email is subtle.matters@outlook.com. So feel free to contact and ask any questions about anything you've seen today or anytime you've seen me. And it seems like I tend to talk about astrology in, stories, examples, and everyday language, inserting some of my sense of humor in the middle of it. So I enjoyed the panel. I'd like to thank you for the trust in us with giving your birth information and trusting us to deliver the correct information, which I didn't completely. I'm sorry. I messed it up at some point, but it was a great panel. I enjoyed it immensely. It was very active and really got my juices flowing. So thank you for having me here.
Great. Thank you so much, Alina. And then, sorry, I'm not tracking everything. Did you say your subtle map? Did you say your website? Alina, sorry, I'm not tracking everything. Did you say your website? I was multitasking.
I did.
Okay, great. You did? Okay, great.
bio.site/subtle.matters. Thank you.
Okay, great. And then Sally is next.
What a lovely evening, Marita. I want to get a reading from you. I want to do a Vedic thing. I've always wanted to have my chart read Vedic. So my name's Sally Boyd, founder of Activated Astrology. You can find me on activatedastrology.com. And be sure and sign up for my newsletter. A little pop-up window will come up if you go to activatedastrology.com and you can get on the newsletter. I have a reading special right now that is the heart of 2026. So it's basically a forecast letting you know how some of these big transits are going to affect you. Or the potentials of what's going to come down the pike. We can't really say exactly, can we? But we know it's going to be big. Having said that, I also, to talk about that further, if you don't want to do a reading and you just like to come and hang out with us, my tribe is going to do a event on the 5th and the 10th. And it's basically a preview of what's going to happen in 2026. So that is free. It's a pay-as-you-wish contribution. And just email me at sally@activatedastrology.com and I will send you that. Or if you are already on my mailing list, you already have the codes anyway. So it's been a pleasure, Laureli. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, everyone, for just so many beautiful insights.
Thank you so much, everyone. This has been great doing this all together. I want to say, too, that we have lots of other upcoming events at MeWe Fairs. You can find us at mewefairs.com. That's MEWEFAIRS.com. And some of the upcoming events, we've been having 7 practice circles a month, sometimes more. You can do a package where you can come to as many as you want for a month. You can join anytime in the middle of the month. So, for example, Thursday, December 4th, 5 in the evening Pacific time is a practice circle. Saturday, December 6th from 4 to 8, or no, it's going to change that. It's now 5 to 9 p.m. Pacific time. We have our online fair with usually 15 to 20 practitioners. And then Sunday, December 7th from 5 to 7 p.m. we have Cosmic Conversations. That's an interactive discussion event. So all kinds of different things that we're doing here at MeWe Fairs. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. It's been very exciting hearing from all of you. We had a couple of practitioners that had dropped off in the middle. It's been great having all of you here and hearing all the different perspectives. Thank you everyone for your questions, and it's been lovely to do this. Thanks again.